Hey, welcome back. Design Elements and Principles. Hope everybody's doing well. Boy, am I sorry about my mess up on Tuesday and actually last week Tuesday. So, for those of you who did it and didn't complain and didn't say anything to me, good for you. But always mention something. You can feel free. Uh, my job is to do things correctly and not screw you guys up. I was, I get in a role and I'm so excited and I knew things were happening and changing. And I thought they were at session 8 and they actually changed in session 6. So, what I mean by that, and most of you did fantastic. And I want you to just follow along and do it correctly. But I had it big here in Illustrator. The thing is, I don't look at these. When I jump from one to the other, and I'm like, okay, now let's go find some values. Yeah, that's my grade. Nobody else's. So if you did it, great. If you didn't, do it the old way. Somebody did the old way because I didn't teach it. Next week, I will teach it the correct way. And also, the big thing is, next week, things are shifting. Next week is totally different. You're going to have a bunch of layout projects, and then you're going to start your big one. You're going to start one of two, let's call it like big projects. I'm going to call them big projects, but they're spread out like for the last 8 weeks. So next week changes quite a bit. And also, this is my reminder that we don't meet on Thursday next week, but I'm going to have a recording for you on Thursday, and it's going to happen after 9. So I have a 9 o'clock meeting, and I'll record it after that. Or if I can, I'm recording on Wednesday, and it'll be posted for Thursday. So I'll let you know about that. And again, I apologize for my absent-minded professorness. So with that being said, today's assignment is the space and the design practice. But you know what? Let's teach you how to use InDesign. So InDesign setup, just like you set up anything else, I'm going to have to put this on another page, but I'm going to walk through every single step of it for you. And I'm going to initially open InDesign. We've all opened InDesign before because I have you open InDesign projects all the time. So what we're going to go do is we're going to click on the blue button that says new file. We want to create a new file. You can start anywhere you want here. It would be print or recent, but you can we're going to start right over here on this side, and we are going to create, well, I say create a print document. So you can hit print. And I want it 16 by 9. So I'm going to type in 16, and I'm going to type in a 9. Now, extremely important, this facing pages, where in my assignment it says no facing pages, that's this button right here. Make sure you have that turned off. When you are making single page documents, as we are today, we don't keep on facing pages. That's for if you're developing a book or a multi-page document. But when you're not doing that, you don't need facing pages. So we only want one page. We want the start number at 1. You can keep this columns at 1. That doesn't really even show up until you have more than one column. For the margin, we want 0.5. And just like everything else, when you type it in and hit enter, it does everything. Let me go back. I didn't really mean to hit enter. So margin is 0.5, but if you go 0.25, and if I hit tab, it switches it. But we want 0.5. I just want to show you all in case yours wasn't set up like that. And then we want the bleed at 0.5. And that's very important. So I hit 0.5 and tab, and that sets all these. We'll make sure that that's looks like 2 chains, and that keeps that all tidy, okay? So that's what we want to do there. And that's all we have to do. 16 by 9, no facing pages, margins at 0.5, bleed at 0.5, and hit create. And there's our document. Now we work with layers, just like we do in all those other projects, but this time the layers you're going to create yourself. So I'm going to first follow the rest of my rules in setting up the document, and we need a ruler turned on. So if you don't see this ruler, right, go to view, and it'll say show rulers. So go to view, show rulers. All right. All this, once you kind of turn some of these things on, they stay on in the programs. It kind of always remembers sort of what you did the last time, and it wants to speed things up, so it does it. It's taking the idea that you're going to repeat things more than you're not going to repeat them. I don't know if that makes sense. Make sure your rulers are turned on, and then we are going to pull a guide to the 8, and I'm going to pull a guide to the 4.5, and it sticks. It's a little sticky. See how I can move, but it's not moving? So it's sticking. It knows where that middle point is, and that's just so we know where our middle point is. Now I'm going to go over here to layer, and I'm going to call one title. I'm going to create another layer, and I just double clicked, and then so this may show up right here, and I'm going to go images, and I'll create another layer, and I'm going to call it background. Now what you can do with these layers is you can move them around. I can click on background and pull it to the bottom, and put up title and put it to the top. What this does is these are pieces of glass. Think of them as transparent pieces of glass. So if I put something on the background, it is closest to the desk. If down here is a desk, and I put a piece of glass, then images is stacked on top of that. And anything I put on images will go on top of the background. And then title goes on top of that. So anything I put on title will go on top of those two. So if I have something on title and it takes up half the screen, it'll block everything below it. So think of these as little pieces of glass. They're called layers, a layered cake. Now what we're going to do is what we've been doing all along, but now you're going to introduce creative freedom. So you can start simple and work harder, and I will start to introduce how to do a second page and third page over time. But for this first one in InDesign, let's start simple. And we can do a background color. We will add our images, and we'll add our labels and a title. All right? Pretty easy stuff. So for the background, I'm going to lock these layers. There's eyeballs that help you see what's on each layer, and these little locks make sure that I can't move anything that's on any other layer. So background starts here, and I'm going to go, right now mine's a circle, and I'm going to go to the rectangle tool. It just looks like a rectangle, and I'm going to draw a rectangle, and I'm going to go all the way out to the bleed, that red line around. We always go to the red line around the artboard. That is proper design. We are creating a bleed for if this was to go into production. And if you have me for other classes, you'll know how important this is, and it should be taught in every one of your classes. I know for some of you, it may seem weird. Like, why would I go past the artboard? Well, we want room in case something shifts during another process that we're not aware of. And if we go all the way out to the edge, we are guaranteeing that we'll never have a white or something mistakenly showing. Now, for this, I'm going to do my fill color. I'm just going to pick yellow because it's my favorite color. And I'm going to make sure the stroke has no color. So that's all you do. I'm going to do fill with yellow, stroke with none. Pick your favorite color. Now for the images, just like we've been practicing in the design practices, I don't have the images, but I found them, and I have them from Tuesday. They're on my desktop, and I labeled them. So just like we normally would, you will save your images to the desktop, and then you can bring them in. So I'm going to go on this images. I'm going to File, And I'm going to go to place, just like we've learned. And now you can see I have an album, I have a book, and I have a poster, all saved from earlier. And I can do a couple at a time, one at a time, but I'll do one at a time just to slow things down and have everybody catching on. So I'm going to go to album. I'm going to hit open. There's my album cover. And I'm going to place that in. And I'm going to look at it and say, boy, oh boy, that's way too big. So I'm going to grab what is called the free transform tool. Here's the big thing. In InDesign, if I haven't talked about this, you can crop an InDesign. And I think I show it a little bit more today with it. I have an advanced version. Oh God, I'm forgetting her name. But I have you crop. I think it's for this one. I have you crop. But if you keep it on just the select tool and you grab the corner and you hold down shift, what it's going to do, it's going to crop your image. And we don't want that to happen. So there's a quick way around it. And it is called the free transform tool, or it's E on the keyboard. This is what it looks like. My giant cursor blocks the name, but that's what it looks like. And it's called free transform tool. It is the #1 tool I now use in both Illustrator and InDesign since it sort of came out or became more apparent to me. Because it allows you to scale anything. So now if I go to this corner and I hold down shift, it will make my image smaller. So I'm just going to place that in and make it smaller. And I'm not going to keep it that size, but I just want it so when I bring in the other picture, I know where it's going. Now, something important is make sure that this picture isn't selected. Because if I go to File and Place, there is an option to replace the image in here. So you always want to make sure you just kind of click off that image. Nothing is selected. And I go to File, Place, and I'll do Book, Open, Place. Now I'm going to grab that free transform tool. I'm going to go to the corner, hold down shift, move it up. And for this one, I'm going to zoom in a bit. As you can see, it's got the gray around it. I don't want the gray around it. So this is where it comes in very easy that if I go to the select tool and I bring it down, I can crop it just using that. So unlike in Illustrator, where you have to create a clipping mask, in InDesign, you can just crop it. But you have to remember that you're allowed to do two things. So if you go back and you're like, I want to size it, you may mistakenly crop it unless you switch to the free transform tool, in which you can then resize it. So it's a little bit more complicated, but I seriously kind of wish Illustrator had this in it, but I understand why it doesn't. Now I'm going to place in my third. And you guys watch me do that. That's why I'll do it all the rest of the weeks coming up. You know how to find your images. I'm going to click right there. Oh, this one was small. Oops. I thought I was big. I'm going to keep the white border on this one simply because it's a perfect white border. It wasn't like this gray one where it was showing gray and it was kind of like half, like a picture of the book. This one's really nice. Now, similar to all the other programs, we can group, slide, move, adjust, and we can do it with more than one piece and whatever we want. So I'm going to show that here. So I'm going to go to the free transform tool, and I want this guy to be this size. I'm really trying to be exact there. So, and then I'm going to go back to the select tool, go here, bring this up to the top. And then I'm going to track the free transform tool. I'm going to hold down shift. And see, now that they're all the same size, I should have just gone to V. And now I have the 3, but see there's a gap, bigger gap here than there's, just like the other programs, as I'm holding that, if you look below the yellow spaces, you will see 2 really light green, and it's locking in and it's showing me that that's an exact distance. But if you have to let go at the right time. I'm going to go to a preference thing that I just saw. Because I don't want, I think it's that. Show transform values. There we go. That big gray box won't come up anymore. Thank you very much for waiting for that. Now what I can do is I'm going to select all 3. I'm going to click and drag across all 3. I'm going to go to the free transform tool. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to drag these to be all the same size. And there we go. Now I'm going to go to my type tool, and I'm going to work on the titles. Now for this one, unlike Illustrator where you can just click once, for InDesign, you actually draw the shape. And for this one, I'm going to draw the shape, and I'm going to have it be the exact width of my album cover. And I'm going to say album cover. Now to be fancier, I'm going to select all the words. You can triple click, select all the words, and you can either go here or here. If nothing's showing up on the top and you want it to, you go to Window and Control. That's how you get the items on the top to show. It is redundant, so most of the stuff up here happens in here in the properties. I like the redundancy, and there are times where there are things that show up on the top that don't show up here. What it does do is it makes your screen, you lose like 1 inch of real estate. So there are some people who will turn that off in order to get a little bit more room for their artboard. For me, I still go up here way too much for it to, and that's why I want it. But I'm trying to learn to not use this all the time and to start use this so I can get that real estate back. So for album cover, I never use the default font. I'm going to use Bauhaus because I use it for a different project and it's there and I like it. And then I'm going to make the type bigger. Now, there are 2 ways you can make the type bigger. You can make it bigger by clicking, having the text box activated, and changing the size here. Or you can use the free transform tool. And if I grab this and hold Shift, I can make it bigger like that. I like both versions, but we never want to do that. So one thing to also know is that then this grew. So you can go about things more than one way. As you can see, I don't want that to happen. So the other one is if I'm on the regular select tool, I can change the size of the text box and the text won't change. It'll just shift down and move to where it wants to be. This may be a little confusing. But if I use the free transform tool, it acts like I want to transform the way it looks. So free transform is about transforming. The select tool is about just adjusting. So it's a little bit, I can keep that. Now I can simply, just like anything, copy and paste. Bring this over. And now I'm going to do the free transform tool. I'm going to hold down Shift and I'm going to hold down the free transform tool. I'm going to hold down Shift and I want this the same size as the book cover. I'm going to see how that looks. And you know what? I'm not liking that. I'm going to want them all the same size, which is fine. So what I'm going to do, album cover, book cover, then I'm going to copy and paste. Get that set up. And this is movie poster. So that happened. Oh, no, my word went away. All I have to do is make sure I hit the select tool and I can pull this sideways and there it pops up again. Now I like this size font better. So I can, with the select tool, hold this. There is something called the eyedropper tool right here. And you can eyedrop, I have to select it. It's different. If your text is selected, you can eyedrop it to the exact size. It's a little bit different in Illustrator and InDesign how the eyedropper tool works. For InDesign, it will eyedrop and change the color of the background unless you have the text selected. In Illustrator, you don't need to have the text selected in order to use the eyedropper tool. The reason I'm mentioning this is I use the eyedropper tool constantly. If I make something like these titles and I'm like, oh, that's the size I want, I eyedrop the size because why like go in and manually do it? And I know I may be going above some of your heads on this, but we'll get through it. So everything's lined up. It looks good. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to unlock images. I'm going to grab everything I have and I'm going to hold down shift and pull down. And I just want, and I'm going to use my arrow key. I want the bottom of my words to be touching the margin, but no further down. The margin is a safe space. We'll learn about this next week, what that margin really is about. It's the safe space. It means nothing should go past that in order for the design to look good and to make sure nothing gets cut off. Now I'm going to go back to title. And I'm going to make a big text box, the whole width. And I'm going to call it Design Elements and Principles. And I put a little colon there. And I'm going to do space. And I'm going to highlight that text, just like we normally do in every program that has text. I'm going to grab that eyedropper tool, and I'm going to eyedrop the text here. And that just, what that's doing is it's changing that font. And now I'm going to make the font go all the way across. Not until it like fits. Maybe I have to stop short. That was just a lucky accident that it came like almost perfect to there. And I'm going to turn that off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm looking at this and I see there's a nice big gap up here and there's not one at the bottom. I'm actually going to move everything up visually. It looks a little off to me. I want things maybe a little bit more. I want more of a gap at the bottom than I do at the top. And there we go. Now I'm going to save this. File, save as, and this is, hold on. I'm going to save it to the cloud. I'm going to save it to my files, and I have a whole system set up, and this is 103. And I will do elements projects, and I'm going to call it JSKAJA underscore space and hit save. You can save it onto your desktop, wherever you need. And now I'm going to go to File, Export, and we're going to do the single export with the smallest file size. So I'm going to do Adobe Print, PDF Print, and I'm going to hit Save. And I want to go here under Adobe PDF Preset to smallest file size. I'm going to make sure the View PDF box is checked right here. I'm going to go to Marks and Bleeds and make sure nothing is checked. And I'm going to hit Export. And there we have it. There is my InDesign file. And for the project, I want to submit both the InDesign file and the PDF so I can check your InDesign work. If you have questions, please reach out and ask. It's new to you. You're not getting it. I'll walk through it with you personally. We'll do it again. But that's how you do it. I apologize for Tuesday's mess up. I hope you all understand it today. All right, let's move on. Again, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. Design practice this week. It is Gale. All right, Gale, this is Illustrator. So I'm going to download it. I'm going to open up my downloads. There is a zip file. We're going to double click or right click and extract all if you're on a PC. Again, I think I mentioned this Tuesday or the other week when you do this. When you're in line to get a computer that you can afford. You get the best bang for your buck. Don't go out and buy an Apple only because you're like, oh, I hear Apple is only used by graphic designers. Guess what? They're not. I use a PC. I don't use an Apple. I prefer PCs over Apple. Apple is a little bit of the industry standard, but everything works the same on both. I just actually have a easier time. And they're cheaper. So to each their own. So there we are. I got, make sure I know where my links are. And I got Gale Anderson. Now this is the one what I was talking about. I'm going to teach you how to crop. So we have, of course, we have our work. We have our title. We have our text. We have our background. But I don't have any imagery yet. So I'm going to go straight to photo, because that's for Gale's photo. I'm going to go File, Place. I'm going to go to my downloads because that's where Gale Anderson is. I'm going to go to links. I'm going to go to the GA photo and hit Place and place it in. It's way too big. So I'm going to go to Free Transform, which is E. And on this, it's hidden. It's not pulled out for some reason. And I'm going to hold down Shift and make Gale small. I always kind of try to get in the routine of doing the same thing in each program. So when you can resize without using the free transform tool in Illustrator, but I try to use it simply because I use it in InDesign. And every time you size something, you hold down Shift. We never do this to get it to fit the right size. You know, if it's this big, you know, and then we never like, oh, I'm going to go like this, and then I'm going to go like this, and hey, there we go, that fits. No. We always hold down Shift. Shift constrains it. We're not making goofy images. We're trying to show a perfect image in scale, in proportion. We got 3 more. File. So I switched my logo to my layers to examples. File, Place. I'm going to hold down Shift. I clicked on example 1. I'm going to hold down Shift and click on example 3. That gathers all 3 at once, and I'm going to place, and I'm going to go click once, click twice, click a 3rd time. I'm going to grab all 3 of these, which I'm just going to click and drag on top. And then I'm going to scale them. My scale is hidden underneath my rotate tool at this point. So all I'm going to do is double click on that scale. I'm going to hit 25. All that's doing is making them viewable for me. I'm going to have to resize them. That's a-okay. Now what I'm going to do is get these two to line up perfectly. They're all the same size when they come in. And then I'm going to lock these two into that bottom corner. I'm moving two things at once, right? And then I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to hit E on my keyboard to bring out the free transform tool. And I'm going to go to that corner, and I'm going to hold on Shift, and I'm going to drag this to the perfect size. Done. Perfecto, right? Now, wait, I'm looking at this. Joel, what'd you do to us? Axl Rose, this isn't correct. I need to get rid of this weird picture of Axl Rose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my rectangle tool, and I'm going to draw a rectangle the size of this box right on top of it. It needs to be on top. And it can be black, it can be blue, it can be puce, it can be chartreuse, whatever color that box is, it does not matter. But it needs to go exactly on top of what I want it to be on. Now I'm going to go back to the select tool. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to grab both the image and the box. I'm going to go to Object and all the way down at the bottom. Where is it? All the way down at the bottom. Clipping mask. And I'm going to hit Make. And look at that. That created that cropping box that InDesign has built in, but Illustrator doesn't. But you can do it. You can do things in both programs. But what this allows you to do is use imagery and use any shape you want to create a clipping mask. InDesign, you can still do that, but it's an extra step. It's just the way that the programs were built. Initially, one is for free-form design. The other one was meant for multi-page document development. That's why there's some differences. Now I'm just going to go in it. We can hit E to the free transform tool. I'm going to hit Shift and pull this to the correct size. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to bring in, now we don't forget the background, but I'm going to do title. And again, get that close, and then I can just use the arrow keys. Then I'm going to go to body copy. And then finally, I'm going to not forget to get the black background and place that in. And the black background goes all the way out to the bleed. There we have that. And you know how to do the rest from here. You've done it a million times. You're going to save it. You're going to make a PDF. And you're going to show me your PDF. All right. Again, let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about how to do this. I'm here to help. Final thing to talk about today. Space. We have 6 compositions we're going to deal with. I want you to create 6 compositions. One that deals with crowded, and one that deals with open, one that deals with near, one that deals with far, and one that deals with positive, and one that deals with negative. What do I mean by that? Well, let's download this Illustrator file and find out. Open up the downloads. There it is. Here it is, right off the bat, just with dots. Now remember, please don't do dots. I did dots. I try to do the simplest design ideas possible to allow you complete creativity. So don't just be like, oh, I think he did dots, I'm going to do dots as well. Turn off my example. Go into your artwork here. You can turn off text boxes as well because you're keeping all those. And we're just going to work in your artwork. Do whatever you want. What would be crowded and open? Same kind of content, near, far, and positive and negative. I'll give you a positive and negative one. Think of the vase face. Does everybody know what the vase face is? Let's do it. Let's try to do a vase face. Oh, I'm going to be horrible. I am going to find a picture, a profile picture. I'll just do this kid. There's a picture of a kid. I found a picture of a kid on Pexels, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can just throw it in. No, I got to do a screenshot. And now that screenshot's going to show up, and I'm going to place that in. Why? You know why? Because it's going to be far easier for me to just trace something than it is for me to try to figure out how to draw a face. Like I do this all the time. It's not cheating. Like people are like, oh, I'm an artist. I can't draw a face. I can draw and paint crazy, wonderful stuff, but I use references all the time. All right, so I have my image here. And actually we'll start over here. Sometimes I just like this stuff. And all I need is the kid's face. So I'm going to go to Object, Lock, Selection. That makes sure I can't move the kid's face. Then I'm going to zoom in. And I can use the pen tool. I can use a blob brush. I can use anything at my disposal. I'm going to use the blob brush. For this one. Oh, let's get that set up. That always shifts when I'm working with you guys. But yeah, always use references. It's not a problem. Like, I think we're somewhat afraid sometimes to use a reference because like, oh, I'm really good at drawing. But you know what? Everybody, Leonardo da Vinci used references. He drew people. All that bone stuff, you know, like everything he did, it was people. Now this, I did this bad because I don't know if you can see that great difference. All right. So again, I could have sat there and spent 10 minutes trying to get a good profile when all I had to do is trace this kid. And I'm just using the blob brush and I'm going to get it like filled in about half. All right. Now you'll see when I go to my select tool, I can grab that face. Got a little schmutz here. Let's go to the blob brush. Let's fill that. Oh no, I hit something weird. There we go. Now I'm gonna zoom out. And I can put this, and now I'm going to scale it and make it the size I want. And if I need to, I can erase at the bottom. Like, okay, this is going to be too big. I have to erase some. So I'm going to go to the eraser tool and erase up. That's a great part about the blob brush, is it allows you to like kind of act like a marker. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down Shift and Alt. And now I'm going to go under my scale tool. I have a reflect tool, and I'm going to double click on that. And as you can see, it popped that in reverse. Okay, so there's positive. Now, if I grab these two and I hit Shift and Option and pull them down, now what I can do is I can change those to white and then draw a new black box. But the problem is, you're like, what, Joel? Where, you know, it's on the top. So I need to change the order of that. So if I go there and I can go over here and I go arrange and send the back, now I have the positive and the negative versions. And actually, I think it's reversed. I think this is supposed to be the negative version where you see the vase, and this is the positive, but you get the idea, I hope. So I want one, you know, we're talking about space. We have a crowded space, we have open space. We're talking about distances, and you can do size, near or far. How do you show that? Using the same elements. And I want you to use the same elements. Like here, use dots and dots. For near and far, use the same elements. Tell us a story. Tell us a little story. You do little fishies. Oh, you do a dandelion stuff. Like, just think of like, you know, like you have a dandelion where it's crowded and it's on its little stalk, and then open, poof, you blew on it, and then you just have like, that's really heady. Like, that's a super heady one. Like a dandelion where they're all crowded together, and then one where there's just like one floating like little dandelion. Do you know what, is that the right? Yeah, the dandelion puffs. Near, far, like that's anything. Those I don't even have to suggest. You guys always have good ones for those. So that's what we're talking about for that. So again, questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. Next week, like I said, we're changing some directions. We're not going to be doing all the same stuff. And then week 9, session 9, we will be going back, but we're adding a project in. So now every week we will have a longer project placed in. So it's not just going to be the research. You'll do the research. You'll be doing the project to try what we learned. You'll be reading the book, and then you'll be doing a major project as well. So you're adding in one more project for the last 8 weeks of this class. But it shouldn't add much to your life, and it's a fun project. You're gonna be creating a poster, and you're gonna be creating a pamphlet or a folded page brochure about a designer. So cool. Again, please reach out. If you ever find mistakes, if I miss something, I forget to talk about something, anything like that, please let me know. Call me out and be like, hey, I think you missed something. And I will apologize and get back to you. So, and get back to the entire class. So thank you for that. I hope it didn't mess anybody up. I want you to be proactive in your education and let people know if something isn't explained well. If it's me, anybody else, you need to be proactive in your learning experience and be like, hey, I'm not getting what you're talking about. Reach out to me. I am here for you. So make sure you know that. I'm stalling because I closed out a window. I'll just put, oh, there it is. It's the one with the point on it. I moved over. So there you go. There you have it. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I will talk to you on Tuesday if I don't talk to you on the discussion boards over the weekend, or on Monday, tomorrow as well. So, all right. You guys take care. You have a great time, and I look forward to seeing the work that you come up with. Again, value. Thank you, everybody who was able to do it in Illustrator. And I even saw some double page ones done, I believe, in Illustrator. And then for space, I showed you how to do the InDesign one. You guys can do this. So you knocked all the work out, you know, in an hour or two. You know how it's very quick. And that's why adding a new assignment in isn't going to be a big deal. All right. Take care. See you guys later. All right. Bye-bye.